Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric. Today, I had the opportunity to ride Phoenix Rising, the new roller coaster at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This is a B&M family inverted roller coaster, and it was a pretty fun experience. But is it worth visiting for? Well, in this video, I'll be giving a full review of the ride, talking about the experience on-ride, off-ride, and discussing whether or not it's a good fit for the park, and if you should go out of your way to try to get on it. So first of all, getting to the ride. This is in the Pantopia area of the park, a very beautiful area, and it looks very nice. The blue paint is a solid color. I think maybe something that looks a little more faded might have fit into this area better, because it looks much more modern than Scorpion, which does have very nice colors, but the mix of red and blue on that one feels like it fits in the area more. So maybe if these supports were a different color, or they had a bit of a pattern in red or yellow on the track outside of the blue, that'd be nicer. But still, a very solid appearance. In the queue, you will enjoy, after passing a great entrance sign with a very nice logo, some interesting tables that have a bunch of what look like pottery or antiques, most of them looking like phoenixes. There's a fun little Easter egg for Montu, and probably other rides. I did not notice them, but it's still quite fun. There's some signs talking about different phoenixes, and once you're on the actual ride, if you look to your right in the main loading station, you see a massive screen with a phoenix on it. And once the ride starts, the phoenix starts flying around, and I guess the idea of the ride is you are on the phoenix and you're riding. The phoenix rises once again, and then you get to go on the ride, something like that. The sort of aesthetic of the animation on the screen is a stained glass type thing, and I enjoy that style a lot, so I think it's a pretty cool thing to have. I think there was one issue where sometimes there was audio that went with the screen, and sometimes not, so maybe that'll be ironed out once the ride actually opens. In terms of the actual ride experience, I was surprised to notice the onboard audio. I didn't know about that beforehand, and it is an interesting thing to have. I think it may have been a bit of a waste, because onboard audio is not cheap, and the music, while nice, isn't anything particularly special. It doesn't add a sense of peril or excitement to the ride in my opinion. While it's okay for what it is, I don't think they really needed to add that, or they could have gone with a soundtrack better. Something in the same vein as Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood, but with more fitting instruments. That said, I do appreciate the effort. In terms of the actual thrills of the ride, it's certainly solid for the family audience. This is a family roller coaster, does not have the highest height requirements, and it has some nice whippy turns as many B&M inverts do. It's not as fast-paced or intense as something like Montu right next door, but still, an enjoyable one. I think you might find it a little boring if you're a major thrill seeker, but sometimes gentle scenic rides can be nice, and this one is certainly scenic. Some areas definitely could use a little more tidying up, but the overall landscaping is great, and the amount of near-miss elements, referring to things you may almost hit your feet with because the car gets pretty close to them, is fun. There's one part where you go below ground a little bit, because they had to build this sort of trough, and there was some water in it, but that was only because it rained recently. I think it'd be cooler if they made it deeper and you went over a body of water, but still, the landscaping is solid. So that is the whole ride experience. All in all, is it worth visiting the park for? No, this is not a destination roller coaster. Even for the family audience, there are better family roller coasters, maybe even just in Busch Gardens, Tampa. However, it is a good ride. I have heard a lot of complaints about it immediately, saying it's super lame, and they could have added something better, and I understand that. However, this replaced a Wild Mouse, a very compact type of roller coaster called Sand Serpent, and Phoenix, a flat ride. They also moved some kiddie rides out of there, and that means they cleared out quite a few rides to get this one in there, but there still wasn't a lot of space. They couldn't have built a super thrilling coaster. Some kinds of rides could have fit here that may have been better, things like a spinning coaster or a Skyrocket 2, but they already have those. So they were maybe running out of rides that they could use that space with. And I think a B&M family invert is a fine one to have. Since they're replacing a family coaster with a family coaster, and this one is a massive improvement, I'd say it was overall a win. One major criticism I've heard that I think is worth mentioning though, is that this ride is a rattle. And that is true. You will shake around a little bit throughout the ride experience. However, unless you have really weak neck muscles, you won't be jostled around a lot. It's noticeable, but does not detract from the ride much at all. I think that's a bit of a nitpick, and I've noticed on rides like Nemesis Reborn at Alton Towers that the rattle seems to smooth out after a little while, so I think that rattle issue will smooth out in the next few months. Overall, Phoenix Rising is a fun, moderately thrilling roller coaster with great landscaping and a great experience for the whole family. It's not the best roller coaster out there. If you're a thrill seeker, you may be underwhelmed, and if you are a younger kid, there are better rides out there, including Cobra's Curse in my opinion, but still, this ride is a more than worthy replacement for Sand Serpent and Phoenix, for being a much more beautiful ride, having much better thrills, and more enjoyable thrills. It's not the best roller coaster in the world, but it marks an overall improvement in Busch Gardens Tampa's ride lineup, and I'm glad it exists. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below your thoughts on Phoenix Rising or any questions you may have, and stay tuned for a ranking of all Busch Gardens Tampa roller coasters coming up soon. Subscribe so you know when that comes out. I'll see you next time.